Hello, Dominic here. Today's date is giving me an opportunity for a little kind of sharing some teaching thoughts. I'm going to talk about the number of today's date, plus using the Aura-Soma color bottles to bring a kind of perspective on that. So what we can say, well, let's just spell it out, of course. It's the 22nd today of the second month, February, in the year 2022. And if you look carefully, you've got a 2-2 either end, and then in the middle you've got an 0220. So it creates a mirror from this side to this side. There's a mirroring between the two. Now that's the point, because this idea of mirroring is a quality of two. You can't have a mirror. When you have a mirror, then the one is reflected in the mirror. It creates a two-ness. So we've got, you could have had this with other numbers, but it's all with the twos. And the twos are about mirroring. So there's a mirroring quality today, today. And first, I want to talk about two big things that happened in the world. I've got my notes here, make sure I say it all in the right order. Two big pieces of news this morning from UK European time. One is in Eastern Europe, one's in the Americas. But they're both about two-ness. So in the Eastern Europe, it's the Ukraine, and there is a struggle or a possibility of a confrontation, a face-off between two bigger powers. So it's like a two-ness there. On the one side, you've got the West. On the other side, you've got Russia. And in the middle, you have Ukraine, and in particular, like a certain area of Ukraine. The point is, yesterday, Russia declared that they would recognize the two states which wish for autonomy, and that the Russians will recognize and support them. So it's kind of made very, from it being kind of a hidden situation, now it's very clear who's on which side, and it's kind of brought into a more kind of concrete level, the two-ness, the face-off between these two powers. That's what's happened in Eastern Europe. So we woke up to the news of a two-ness had crystallized in international politics. It's been being talked about for days, but it's really crystallized now. Then on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, in the Americas, in Canada, north of the United States, also yesterday, there has been for some time a protest, a peaceful protest of some Canadian people against some of the mandates. The important thing is this. Yesterday, the Canadian Parliament confirmed what happened a week ago, which was the government took the emergency power to declare that there was a national emergency, and that this emergency, it's not coming from outside, it's coming from a section of people within the country, within the country. Now, that's created a two-ness, and it was made official yesterday. That's the point. It was made official. So now this state of emergency is going to continue for as long as the government consider it needs to be there. So that's created a two-ness within the country. There's the government, and then there are the people the government considers to be a threat. So you have a face-off, this time, within the one country. These are two big pieces of news. A two-ness in Europe and a two-ness in North America. So it's all on the, on a day that's full of twos, and a day that has a mirroring. This mirroring idea of I'm using this word face-off, when a face-off is when like two people meet and they kind of has a battle of wills, which is actually a number one word. It's a number one word. But very fitting, because the will of one and the will of the other, if they're not going to find a compromise, then you have this tension of one facing one, and that's the two-ness. The two-ness is the face-off between the two ones, neither of whom are backing down. Okay, and that's what we see here. We see a face-off, a mirroring one to the other. Let's go to the next page. Well, that was Canada and Russia, so I can move on from that one. Yeah, so this is what I want to say next. I'm going to show you a color combination now. It's not number 2, it's number 5, yellow, red. But the reason I'm showing you this is because in this situation of face-off, when one self is faced with another. Now, you know how it, imagine you get on a train. Imagine you're just, or if you're out in public, you don't know somebody. And what would happen if you go up very close to someone you don't know and just like look at them from here? What would happen? See, yellow is about the self. Now, red is what happens in any Aura-Soma bottle. What the color underneath is what's happening underneath the surface. So if I or someone was to go and face someone else from here, they don't know me, what's going to happen? My heart's going to start beating faster. I'm getting ready for danger. I've created a dangerous situation. Red for danger. You all know about red alert. Has a stimulus on the body. Yeah, the heart, adrenaline. The body gets ready for action. Action is a red thing. So this is the self ready for action. Pumped up. Red alert. That's what we have. We have a red alert in Canada, a state of emergency. We've got a red alert in the Ukraine, two superpowers facing off to each other. Red alert. And why did I want to show you that picture, that bottle? I mean, it describes the situation, but it's not the numbers we're looking at today. But let me show you a bottle of the numbers we're looking at today. 22. Bottle 22. Yellow, pink. See how those two are connected? From yellow, red to yellow, pink. The red has softened. From, what do we think? What's the main word we think of with pink? Love. So from danger to love. Or as at least let's say a softening of that sense of danger. Now, I remember this bottle used to bring to mind the name of a book. I hadn't thought about it for some years, and I remembered it today as I was thinking, preparing for this. The book is called Love is Letting Go of Fear. Love, pink, is letting go of fear, yellow. Love is letting go of fear. Imagine if you're, if you imagine that situation of facing someone you don't know, the danger you feel, and then if you can transmute that danger, if there's enough trust, which is a blue word, and number 2, I haven't got the picture of bottle number 2, I can find it. That's bottle number 2. That's trust and peace. If you feel enough trust, then that sense of danger can be replaced. The red can soften, and from danger we can move to something that's more, ultimately, more loving towards the other. So we have this idea of two-ness and face-off here. We have the implicit within that is the danger that can arise when we face another so close, just as we're seeing both sides of the Atlantic at the moment in world politics. But if there can be more trust and peace, then we can get to this. Love, the letting go of fear leads to the love. So now I've got a picture for you. It's my next part of the presentation. 2 swans. These 2 swans facing each other. I mean, partly I'm showing, beautiful picture. Facing each other, but obviously not feeling threatened. And there's the 2 shape. You see the 2 shape? The swan is the shape of the 2. It's like a 2-2. And so so this is how we can come together without feeling threatened, the closeness we can have if we don't feel threatened. When we come to that 22, letting go of fear, love moment. I've written that number out again, and this time I've tried to make the 2 2s bigger and the 0s smaller. So I'll just put that one up because now I've got the 22, 22, 22 more obvious for you. Let's put that one there. And the 2 zeros there. So we're talking about the mirroring, the danger that arises with that mirroring, which then can soften. As the 22 bottle shows, love is letting go of fear. It's called the guy who wrote that book, he worked a lot with a method called the Course in Miracles. So what we're talking about is a miracle here. A miracle when you can recognize the other as not the enemy, but but something that you're interacting with, and at a deeper level, there's a unity between you. I mean, we're all human beings. We're all souls. This is the next part, the last part of what I want to say. I'm going to the zero now. This is the zero bottle in Aura-Soma. It's royal blue, deep magenta. It's called spiritual rescue. It's the spiritual dimension of ourselves, the spiritual self that stepped into this world. When we step into this world, we become a somebody, and we have something to defend, something that can be threatened. At the most basic level, our body, our life, the land that we stand upon. So we start as a spiritual being, but coming into this world, incarnating into this body, yellow to red, we become a self now in a body, but that also creates that danger, because when I'm identified at this level, then I can be triggered into action, to defense. I feel like I can feel danger. At a spiritual level, the one that's come into this world will leave again at the end of life. So in a sense, this life that we've incarnated into, it matters. I use the word matter advisedly. But it's not the be all and end all, because the soul has come in and the soul will leave. This is the spiritual rescue, the spirit that incarnates, the spirit that will leave again. So in a way, what we're fighting about is something temporary. It's while we're in the body. So can we come to that? So this is the zeros in the picture, is to remind us of our spiritual dimension. And I think this is nice in this picture, that along with the two swans facing off on the surface, there's a reflection here, which I could imagine in this case is the spiritual selves acknowledging each other. Just as in this world, we are in a body and we face each other in this physical world, there's a spiritual acknowledgement as well at a deeper level. That zero, when you take it into tarot cards, is the Fool. This is one picture of the Fool. This is one picture. They're very similar, as you can see. The Fool, the spirit that's going to step in off the cliff and fall in and come into this world. And there's an innocence and a purity in both pictures, that white flower. So we come in innocent. And this is the 20, and I talked about the 20 in a previous video as well, and the Star Child, and I'll probably do something more about it, because I think this is called the Star Child in Aura-Soma. It's the 20, the 20, it's the other part of the picture, 2022. And what I thought about the Star Child, which is very much connected to the zero, is remember when you were young, how keenly you sensed justice. You know, it's fair, it's not fair. When something's not fair, you really feel it. When you're young, little things, but are still very important, aren't they? Telling the truth. Things should be fair. As we get older in this world, we can become worn down by the world, and we kind of compromise with some of the cruelty and some of the ignorance and so on. But the spiritual idealism, the spiritual essence of ourselves, that's the zero. And the zero, this is the final thing here, the zero, which in a way is like the doorway from the spiritual world. We come in from the other world, we come in from here as the zero. We arrive in the body, but we need to come to this. So really, with a spirit from the spiritual world, we are reborn in this world, not afraid of each other, but with love. Of course, it's tricky if one has love and the other one is still afraid, but that's what we have to deal with. So that's it. That's it for today. I'm doing a course on numbers. I'm starting in a couple of weeks. If you've liked this, maybe you'd like to find out about the course, just leave a message or send me an email or something. Facebook, I'm on there too. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.